Now let's look at the most important part of the whole memory chain, the memory controller, hippocampus. Hippocampus is an organ, small organ inside the brain, shown here. It's kind of at the center of the brain. It looks like a seahorse, just like this one. See, this seahorse kind of matches that one. And that's how the actual organ looks. The hippocampus has two functions. Remember, I said memory has four parts. First part is the short-term memory, which is the kind of the sensory organ memory. Second is the short-term memory, working memory, which we have talked about a lot, which is here. The third is the medium-term memory, which is situated in hippocampus. And fourth is a long-term memory, which is all over the brain. Long-term memory is formed when you sleep during the night. And hippocampus plays the major part in deciding which memory should you take from short-term to long-term. So sleep is very important. Hippocampus does not like mundane, boring, everyday, expected information. It just rejects it. Because our brain is not like a computer. It's not like a Walmart's stacking aisle, which is the computer memory. You can just stack whatever you want and later you can retrieve. Hippocampus selectively decides, okay, let's keep this memory, let's reject most of the other memory. Now, when you are studying or learning, hippocampus doesn't know which part is important, which part is not. You are trying to cram a lot of information into your brain. You are trying to teach your brain stuff, but your hippocampus doesn't understand what is important, what should it keep, and what should it reject. So if you study in a boring way, in a mundane way, if you give the information in a usual everyday expected format, like a history book and like facts and figures and etc., your hippocampus will just reject it. You will not learn anything. If you want to learn effectively, if you want to absorb a lot, if you want to keep a lot of information in your long-term memory, you need to give the hippocampus reason to store the important memory. And the way you can do it is by making whatever is the important memory or information interesting, enjoyable, funny, emotionally tied, sensory. So make it vivid color, vivid sound. So make it interesting in some way, make it unexpected, make it unusual, make it something out of ordinary. So if you make that information, whatever is you are trying to learn, in that format, your hippocampus will think, oh, this thing is important. I need to store this. And that's why it is extremely important to learn how to make anything interesting. See, whatever you are interested in, your memory, your long-term memory will absorb it through hippocampus. Whatever you are enjoying, whatever is funny, whatever is out of ordinary, your hippocampus will absorb it and send it to the long-term memory. So we want a very strong hippocampus and we want to help it along by making it interesting. Now let me reveal the second function the hippocampus does. Hippocampus has two functions, not just one. One is memory controller. The other function, very important function hippocampus does is navigation. Hippocampus does the navigation part. So this is interesting story. You know London? Some of you have been to London. I've been to London. London is a complex city. It evolved over a long period of time. England has a big history. London has been at the center of it. And it just evolved from a small city to big, bigger and big. So London is very complex. Now, if you want to be a cab driver in London, you have to learn the entire map of London in your head. Now this is pre Google Maps era. I don't know what's going on now, but at in those days, the London cabbie has to read the entire map of London, and they did MRI scanning, magnetic resonance imaging of the London cabbie, and they found that their hippocampus was twice as big as normal people. Their memory was also very good, consequently. So, if you want to help along your hippocampus, if you want to get better memory, from now on out, start navigating. Now it's COVID region, which 2020, we are not going out much, but whenever you get a chance, try navigating as much as you can. Drop the Google Maps to a side. Look at Google Maps before you leave and use it as less as possible using your own navigation skills. And that will help you gain actual mass in hippocampus. Your hippocampus will grow bigger. London cabbies have proven that. Okay. So there are two functions of hippocampus. One, decide which information to keep, which information to throw away, memory controller. Second, navigation. And you can help both of them with each other. So I hope you learned something. Please join me to the next part. This is Dr. Ninad from Inner Labs.